And till this day, it hits so hard because you have to deal with the idea that you somehow got out. Not everyone else has, and a lot of people don't have the chance to get out. But that if you continue to do the work that you're doing, you can and will succeed because there is no choice but to succeed. Our country was already locked in turmoil, and now the earth began to purge us too. If you could stop the next tornado from hitting your home, the next hurricane from wiping out your city, the next drought from starving your people, the next lightning strike from ending your life, wouldn't you?
It's a very powerful poem, and the words are very powerful. So can you tell me a little bit more about the places, the people, the experiences that helped you influence this poem?
The poem is called Di Baladna, which means this is our home. And I wanted to capture not only my lived experience and my family's, my communities. I'm Darfuri, I'm from Sudan, but I grew up in Philly, so I have a lot of different ideas and experiences with all of the effects of climate change before we ever even called it climate change. I thought it was very, very important to sort of broaden the understanding of what climate change looks like. So speaking to refugees on the ground in Cameroon, Bangladesh, and Jordan, they had such incredible stories about how it is that they not only left because of conflict, but in the place where they sought refuge, they came to address the issues of climate change. So it was just very, very meaningful for me to not only be entrusted with their stories by them and my people's stories, but to be able to fulfill the promise of helping, raise awareness and get the voices heard. It's hard being in these spaces and on these panels and in these rooms, knowing that I might be the only voice in that room that not only has to cover climate change and how it affects refugees, but then to have to cover indigenous rights. I'm an indigenous African woman. To cover, racial justice, to cover every single topic. So I guess what I've seen a lot of people with good intentions and a lot of people who are waking up to the idea of including marginalized voices. But those of us who've been in the space and advocating for a while for this, I guess we are basically saying, hey, you're here and we need you to be here. Right? And so it's really good that you're here, but can you meet me here? And I think that's why poetry was a really good choice for how to bring people along. For me, it really means a lot to be able to honor the people who have suffered, my family members who have fallen even recently, and it's just to honor them by keeping the message alive and trying to foster and facilitate the inclusion of voices like ours in these spaces in the hopes that, we don't have to keep dying for our lives. Am I disappointed? I'm always disappointed, but am I optimistic? I'm cautiously optimistic because the way that people have received what I've said and what a couple of other people here who are really trying to broaden the conversation, create and forge a permanent space for voices like ours. I think I'm optimistic because I think that people are seeing it, and a lot of them are receptive to it. So I think trust is something really important. Exposure is very important, and just expanding and believing them, believing the people on the ground as the leaders of change in those spaces. They're catalyzing change where we couldn't. So I would say if you're listening to this and you want to do something, I would say find out how it is that you can help people on the ground expand their initiatives, collaborate with them, and how we can take that and then scale it up across the world.